Hey friends, Mr. Quiggle here. I hope you enjoyed the video on anxiety. If you didn't watch it yet, please pause this video, go back and watch that video I posted on anxiety. I really think it helps explain what anxiety is, how anxiousness can come up in your body, and how it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it can be there to help you out. So please go watch that and then come back here and carry on. So one, I really hope you enjoyed it. I think it was super helpful, especially in these weird times with COVID and school coming back a little bit different. I want you to try to think about that happening once in a while. Sometimes you have different ways that your body reacts, and they're not always bad. Mr. Quiggle gets anxious sometimes too, and I want to try to give you some different techniques to try to help you with anxiousness or worry or any of those types of feelings like that. Mrs. Thomas is actually going to come later in this video, and she's going to give you some really good tips that'll help you feel a little bit calmer when the world gets a little bit loud and overwhelming. For right now, I'm going to give you one little tip that always helps me. Now, we did a bunch of different lessons, some of which focused on breathing, and I always try to talk about breathing, being mindful, and thinking of taking a nice deep breath. So we'll take 3 deep breaths together just to try to calm us down a little. So go ahead and breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. There, that's just one little simple thing that can try to help you out when sometimes everything gets a little bit too much. Now, Mrs. Thomas is going to give you a much more specific technique that I love. I use it all the time, and it really helps bring me down and make me focus on what's going on around me. So please watch the video, have fun, and when you're done, I'm going to give you your assignment. So listen for the end to see what you need to turn into me. I hope you enjoy.
Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Thomas. Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways of practicing mindfulness, which is using my 5 senses. Go ahead and take a moment and pause the video and see if you can name all 5 senses before we go through them. Okay, let's name them all. We have our sense of taste, our sense of hearing, our sense of seeing, our sense of smell, and lastly, our sense of touch. There are many ways you can practice mindfulness using the 5 senses. You may choose to focus on one sense, like your sense of hearing, or you might choose to spend a little bit more time and go through all 5 senses at the same time. One of my favorite ways of practicing mindfulness is by going outside. It has to be outside in nature on a really beautiful day. And I like to close my eyes and focus in on my sense of hearing. Now, I live in a busy neighborhood, so there are lots of man-made sounds that I hear right away, usually traffic. Sometimes I'll hear trains in the distance. Sometimes I hear lawnmowers or leaf blowers, people talking. Sometimes I even hear kids splashing in a swimming pool. I like to then recognize those sounds that I'm hearing that are man-made and then try to block them out and try to focus in on the sounds of nature and challenge myself to hear 5 different things. So usually if it's a little bit windy that day, I can hear the trees moving, the leaves rustling together. Sometimes I hear birds chirping. Not uncommon to even hear several different birds at once. If I'm really lucky, I can hear some bugs or some frogs, and if you live by water, you may even be able to hear the water moving. Today, we're going to do an exercise together where we experience mindfulness using all 5 of our senses using a glass of water. So go ahead and pause the video and grab yourself a glass of water and then come on back to me. Okay, so I have this glass of water here. Some of you may recognize this cup from my office. So we're going to first use our sense of sight, and we're going to look at the water, and we're going to just ask ourselves, what do we notice about it? Does it look pleasing to us? What color is it? Swirl it around and watch how it moves. After we're done looking at the water and kind of making a judgment about some different things about the water, we're going to focus in on our sense of smell. Breathe in the scent of the water. What do you smell? If you have plain water in a cup like this one, you may even be able to smell the cup that it's in. Next, we're going to taste the water and use our sense of taste and touch together. Put some water in your mouth, and as you drink it, focus on how it feels in your mouth. take a sip of the water and don't swallow it right away. Move it around in your mouth, swish it between your teeth, and ask yourself how it feels. What is the temperature of the water? Is it just the right temperature for you, or do you prefer it another way? As you swallow the water, feel it moving down your throat, and you may even be able to feel it going beyond your throat as it travels down your esophagus into your stomach. Now we're going to use our sense of hearing, and this is one of the more interesting ones with water. But when you put the water in your mouth and you swish it around, you can actually hear it moving around your mouth. You may even be able to hear a different sound when you swallow it. So there you have it. We just did a simple exercise where we went through all 5 senses and practiced mindfulness. I am sure that you're going to be able to use your creativity and come up with many different fun ways to practice mindfulness that I haven't even thought of yet. Once you get in the habit of doing this all of the time, you will find so many things that bring you joy.
Thanks, Mrs. Thomas. That was super helpful. I hope you all enjoyed the activity. Now, here's what I want you to do for today. I want you can do one of a couple things. I want you to share a technique that you use when you are stressed. What is something you do to help you when you want to get a little bit calmer? If you can't think of anything, you can use either my example from earlier or Mrs. Thomas with the water. That's totally up to you. And if you want to share anything that's stressing you right now, I'll make sure that this assignment is only individually posted, so it only goes to me. If you have anything you want to share, you're welcome to share. If not, no big deal, you don't have to. But at the very least, I want you to share something that you do to kind of de-stress or de-escalate yourself when you feel a little bit anxious or worried or anything like that. I hope everything's going well. We'll have a new activity next week, and I think you'll have a lot of fun. See you next time.